Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for attending our webinar for today entitled Microsoft Azure WVD Made Easy with NComputing. So before we begin in today's session, I'd like to introduce first myself. I am Nelly, and I will be your host for today's virtual session. So just a brief background. Our company, Wordtext Systems Incorporated, or WSI, has been in the business for 38 years as a pioneer and one of the leading IT distributors here in the Philippines. So, what we offer is we provide complete IT solutions for your business across industries. So, we have solutions for infrastructure, design, printing, and imaging, security and backup, and communication. So we carry more than 14 named brands. So if you have any requirements in the future, our main office is in Manila and we have branches in Cebu and Davao that you can contact from 8 to 5 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, or you may send us an email at sales@wsifil.com.ph. So for more information about WSI and the solution we offer, you may also visit our official website, which is www.wordtext.com.ph. So you can also reach us at our official social media accounts. We encourage everyone to feel free to like, share, and follow our social media pages and be updated on the latest IT products and information. So, lastly, we would like to introduce our e-commerce site, www.WeSellIt.ph, the first pure IT e-commerce site in the Philippines for small and mid-sized businesses. So, WeSellIt offers a wide range of hardware and software brands, and if you would like to know more, you may reach us after this webinar. So you can visit this site by typing in www.wesellit.ph on your address bar of any of your preferred search engines. So before we dive into the session, I'm just going to go over our house rules. So number one, this event is being recorded, and if you have questions, you may send it on the chat panel on your screen, and we will get back to you during our question and answer portion. So, without further ado, let us get started, and let me just introduce Sir Oliver Pabilia, the product manager of NComputing here in the Philippines, to introduce the team and give his welcome remarks. Sir Oliver?
Thank you, Aika. Good morning. Before anything else, I'd like to greet everybody. Season's greetings. With me right now is our team for Asia Pacific, headed by Mr. Manju. He heads our Asia Pacific team and also Middle East and Africa. We also have here is Mr. Sentil, our technical manager. And for the resource person this morning, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jesse, who will be introducing the products and solutions we will be discussing this morning. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to turn over the mic to Mr. Jesse Pan, who's a solutions architect for NComputing in Asia Pacific. Jesse?
Hey everybody, and thank you for joining this call. And let me know if you are okay with my volume. And I'm going to start my session now. Oh. Okay. You able to see my screen, correct?
Yes, Jesse, we can see your screen.
Okay, good. So today we are going to introduce our newest solution for Microsoft WVD. And so this is a extension of our thin client capabilities. And so without further ado, let's go diving into it. And if you need to know more about NComputing as a company as a whole, and we can have another discussion on this, because I want to get this through as quick as possible for our product. Okay. This doesn't. So the agenda for today is what we need to talk about is what is Windows WVD, and why you need to choose NComputing for your WVD solutions, and how does it work, and then we can introduce a RX series of the thin clients for this solution, and we will have about 5-10 minutes of live demo. And during the demo, you will see how easy it is for you to get on board with our thin client to access your WVD infrastructure. And I will also provide some of the marketing resources for you, and see. So the resources will be jointly provided by us and Microsoft, and I will leave some time for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, as Nelly just said, and you can type it into the chat now, and so we can answer to your questions at the end of the session. Okay. So what is Windows Virtual Desktop? So what we call a WVD. So WVD actually is a Microsoft solution for virtual desktop. You can think of it as a competitor directly with Citrix and VMware's VDI solution. So WVD actually is offered on Microsoft Azure, and so it's a cloud-hosted desktop as a service kind of offering from Microsoft. And as you know, Microsoft actually owns everything, so the experience they were able to provide will be much better than a third party able to do. So you will get a Windows 10 experience in a multi-session cost with multi-session cost. So the cost won't be as high as you think it is. It's very low as a per monthly basis. And it will offer you a Office 365 optimized for the environment. And as a caveat for the thing, you are able to use Windows 7. As we all know, Windows 7 is being discontinued, not supported anymore on a standalone installation basis. But if you do need to use Windows 7, WVD able to offer you that also. So the customer able to manage their own images, their own virtual machines, but Microsoft, the Azure part, will offer you to manage their infrastructure. So you do not have to own your own infrastructure. You only need to tell them what kind of image you want, what kind of virtual machine you needed, as a capacity-wise, spec-wise. So you leave a lot of heavy lifting to Microsoft to do the infrastructure, to do the delivery part of things. So the device can be connected from anywhere and use any devices. So basically, you can use a thin client, you can use a normal PC or a tablet, those kind of things you can all use. So it's very easy to get access to the Windows Virtual Desktop. Okay. And so what is WVD cater to which kind of industry? We like to say this. WVD is catered to almost all industries when they need to use a compute resource. So for security, for regulation, so financial services, healthcare, government, all those have very tight security regulations and to govern their data security. So WVD is ideal for one reason is data is always resided with a central location. You have to put on more stringent regulation requirement for those data. Data is never going to leave there, so it will be much easier to manage that. And also, as could be a norm for this year, for 2020, is flexible workforce, meaning you can work from anywhere, right? You can bring your own device. You can use a work from home, a contractor, a doctor, or anybody. When you go anywhere you want to start your work, you can always connect to a cloud-hosted virtual desktop and start your work right away. Or you can also have special workload. So if you have some special employee require extra capability of a laptop or desktop to do something, so we can offer that to those employees for a more resource kind of desktop experience. Also, if you need to do software development, as we all know, virtual machine is very, I mean, it was built for doing software development, software testing. So we know this also caters to that. So WVD able to cater to those kind of use cases also. So basically, what you're able to think about, any industry should be able to adapt to WVD. Okay, so for WVD, if you guys have been with NComputing before, you might saw this scenario at the beginning of this year when we started doing the working from home initiative. This is a scenario 6 in our document, so using Azure Cloud. So from our device, the RX 420 device here, through internet, goes through firewall, goes through all the necessary connection, diagnostic web access, the gateway offered by Azure. Then you're able to access their services, the Active Directory, desktop apps, or any of those services Azure able to provide to you. So this is one of the solutions we were talking about at the beginning of the year, and things about a month ago we started offering this solution to the market. And there's few pros and cons of this. So pro will be easy user accessibility from anywhere. As we mentioned before, you can access WVD from anywhere as long as you have a internet connection, and everything is taken care by Azure. So your firewall, your VPN, port forwarding, all those kind of things, it's the connection, a secure connection. It's managed by Azure, so that's very easy for you. It's easy to scale because as long as you need some new desktop or new services, you can always subscribe right there, and the service will be available to you right away. There's few drawbacks for this also. Will be a data hosted by third party. There might be some issue if you want everything to host it by you, by the company itself, data to reside to your facility. That might be an issue, but we can always have a solution for those kind of use cases. User experience might be compromised. Depends on the internet connection. If you have a stable internet connection, I do not see any issue with that, because Azure has multiple locations, and you can always find a closest location to your office, so your delay won't be that long, so the user experience won't be affected too much. And so the cost might be a little bit higher over time, maybe. Depends on how many users are using, and depends on the license structure you choose to use. So for this, you might have to discuss your licensing requirement with a Microsoft expert on the licensing part. Okay. And WVD provides efficient and simplified management. That's what we told you before. Customer manage the VM itself and the desktop, and the infrastructure is managed by Microsoft. So the user experience is managed by you, and you're able to choose what level of user experience you want to have for the user, and so you're able to manage that. And the VM management is also done by customers. So the multiple tools can use for managing VM is simple deployment, and as your OS and application update tools. All those things is provided by Microsoft, and use those tools to implement your VM much easier. The WVD service management will be simplified, effective troubleshooting for you. And Microsoft also has third-party apps posted on their Azure environment, so you can use third-party services and value-added service to enhance your service management. Okay. Now, the last part of things right now is why you need to choose NComputing for your WVD solution. So very simply put, NComputing WVD solution. It's a partner device, partner solution with Microsoft. So we are a WVD partner integrated with Linux thin client solution verified by Microsoft. So this whole thing is a joint effort between NComputing and Microsoft. And later on, I will show you a few of the things collaterals from Microsoft and NComputing. So you can go to market with that. And we are the first vendor to put the WVD access onto a Raspberry Pi platform, and we will be the in the foreseeable future, we'll be the only one have this kind of solution. So as you all know, Raspberry Pi platform is well adapted by the market, and it's a stable platform, and it's inexpensive. So as you can, if you know NComputing is known to have a inexpensive solution for accessing your virtual desktop. Okay, so we are continuing our company models, provide simple and affordable computing for everybody. So it's a native WVD client integration. So it's a native. This WVD client is working in conjunction with Microsoft. So it's not third-party WVD client we are using. We are using exactly what Microsoft is able to provide. So everything is very, very first-hand. Like what we need to do. So we have a small factor thin client, and later on there's a picture of it. And if you want to take a look at the device, and you can ask WSI to show it to you. It's a small device, and you can put it anywhere. Okay. And for this device, the RX series we're talking about is a read-only device, meaning there's nothing a end user able to write or store on the device itself. So that will give you a peace of mind for your data. Your data will be secure, and your data will be secure. Follow your data security policy, and if you do not like people download any data to the local machine or save anything in their drive, we're able to just lock down this device, make sure this device has no data on it. And it's fully locked down, and so there's no threat, there's no virus threat, all that stuff will happen to your device. So it's much easier for you to secure your data and secure your device. And it's a low cost. As I said, Raspberry Pi platform, so the cost is already low for you. It's but it provides comparable or the same level of experience as a traditional PC or laptop in this. So you will have the same experience at a fraction of cost compared to a PC and laptop client. And we also offer central management for our thin clients. So as we all know, managing a laptop or fat client, it's costly, and it takes a lot of manpower and cost to do this. So we have a central management for the RX series of thin clients, and the client itself has no moving parts. So the failure rate is very, very low, and it has very low maintenance cost for you. So ongoing operation cost is very low. And in addition, because the device itself also has very low electricity consumption, so you also have a lower cost for your AC, or cost for your electricity. So it's ideal for your work from home also. Okay. So next one would be this device. How does it work? So you can see this is the device, and the true device is now too big of that. And I think if you have a normal business card, it's the size of your business card, the surface area of your business card, a little bit thicker. About like a 1.5 centimeter thick, I think, or 8 by an inch. Okay, so that's the device, and this is called RX420 RDP. How does it work? So all you need to provide is a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and internet connection. That's it, and with power, obviously. So once you have that, you have the select from a standalone application or full operating system, experience a high performance Windows virtual desktop or a virtual app for your needs. Okay, and the next one we will talk about here is the PMC. PMC is our device manager. So you have this device manager to manage all your devices remotely, or you can. So you host it in your environment or host it on Azure. Also, you can do that, and so you can manage it, all your devices through this interface, the web interface. Okay. So we offer two flavors of the devices. One called RX420 RDP. The other is called RX RDP Plus. The difference between those two are very, very minimum. The biggest difference is this one, the RX420 is natively support for dual monitors. So if you have a dual monitor requirement, 420 is the device for you. RX420 is the device for you. And this is a single monitor support. So RX RDP Plus supports single monitor. In addition, there is a local browser support for the RX420 devices. The local browser is not supported on the RX RDP Plus. The reason for that is the RAM difference between those two devices. The RX420 has 2 GB of RAM, and the RDP Plus has only 1 GB of RAM. So that's the difference. Okay. Now, integrated client support for this device. So that's we support both Spring 2020 and Fall 2019 Windows Virtual Desktop releases. Currently, I believe most of people are moving on to the Spring 2020 releases. And so obviously when Microsoft will release another one, I think they're going to release something next year, sometimes like Spring 2021. So we will support that right away. So we also support multi-factor authentication. That's a Microsoft feature, and it supports remote app and desktop. Or you can also provision it to use as a regular app kind of usage, or kiosk mode. Kiosk mode just means everything will be wiped out after you log off, so there's no user information will be stored on the device anyway. So it supports H.264 enhancement encoding. So this will provide you a better video replay experience for the end user, and has native single or multiple displays of those two, and support peripherals. A lot of peripherals. Depends on what kind of peripheral you provision to support, because your delivery policy might want to limit your USB storage for the reason of data security. So you can just disable that if you wish to do so. Support USB audio devices, USB webcam will come in a later date, because Microsoft is still doing some enhancement on webcam usage. And we have a local browser for just so you can use a browser to browse locally, not necessarily going through WVD. Okay. Now I'm going to do a live demo. With me a little bit. Okay. So I have my device connected, and so on a VNC session, and I will first show you what is the management part of things. Okay. So for this, for this device, we have multiple clients capability. We have an RDP client, we have a WVD client, we have a VDI client, vSpace client, and local Chromium browser. Okay. So today we are going to show you a WVD client. So WVD client, and so once you get a device with the internet connection, you can choose WVD client, and then there's nothing else you need to do. There's nothing really to default is the spring 2020 as for the default release date support. If you have both, you can select both. Just pick one of them, and you're able to select enable the Chromium browser or not. So that's your choice. So I enable that browser here, and for a multi monitor, you're able to choose which monitor you put your WVD on. So a primary monitor or secondary monitor. For now, I only have one monitor, so it doesn't matter which one I pick, will be there. So if you want to use both monitors for your WVD, just click all monitors. Okay, and there is a display, the Chromium kiosk mode, those kind of things. Kiosk mode is for MFA, multi-factor authentication. And the next one which is interesting is your display. So for display, we're able to have two display side by side in a landscape mode. If you want to have a, always say a portrait mode, you can do that. You can rotate this thing to a certain degree, certain clockwise, counterclockwise. So you can do that. Or you can actually have two different orientation of your monitors. Just imagine a L-shaped kind of setup. One is on your left-hand side is the portrait mode, then you have a horizontal landscape mode monitor. So that's a L shape. So I had a customer who wants those kind of setups for the reason in the hospital, they want to have a landscape mode to view their X-ray images, so in a landscape mode. But when they're working, they want to use a landscape portrait mode for viewing the pictures and landscape mode for working. So that's kind of things we have to support those special setups. And other than that, there's not much you need to really change. Obviously, you can limit your USB exposure. So you can say there's no redirection at all. Means there's none of the USB devices would be redirected to the WVD session other than the mouse and keyboard. And also you can do a customized your policy because if you don't want the USB mass storage to be redirected, you can always not redirect those, so you will have better data protection. And audio and keyboards, so depends on what kind of audio you're using. Basically, you have to use a USB or a HDMI. You can add those into your supported bucket here. And security management, there's also just management of other things. But obviously, network. Network for this device actually supports both Ethernet and Wi-Fi. And we also have VPN support here. If you do require VPN, you can enable VPN for your output. So you will have a VPN connection for your tool. Okay, and with that, let me just apply this. We'll load up this. So once you choose the WVD, and this will be the screen you will see, and there's only two things you need to do, and just put in your login potential. So the on Microsoft.com, that's the common for WVD offering. So you can have anything like username at your company name on Microsoft.com. That would be your WVD login. And then you will authenticate. And do this. And let's see. Okay. So I need to point out my environment is actually hosted in Europe, in Germany somewhere. So I'm currently located in Singapore. So it's halfway around the world. Takes a few seconds for it to get connected. And because I have a web browser enabled, so enable the Chromium browser here. If I click Chromium browser here, it will launch a Chromium browser, but that will use my local network. It's not going to go through in WVD environment. So now I have my WVD here. As you can see, those are the servers that are able to use. So I have Excel, Google Chrome, Paint, and PowerPoint, and a Windows 10 desktop. So I'm going to start a Windows 10 desktop. There you go. Alrighty. So this is my desktop hosted in Germany. So I can stop here. So I like to use this. Go. So now I'm actually accessing things from Germany. Let me see. I say, oh, whoa, what did I do? Okay, well, somehow I destroyed the thing. What's my location? There you go. I'm somewhere here, somewhere in Netherlands. I mean Netherlands, sorry, now in Germany. Okay, and with that, that's how we exit. So you can use your desktop as a normal, and so that's your desktop now. So log off. Disconnect. I just connect the thing, and just to show you my local browser. So I have a local browser. So remember, just now I was in Netherlands. So the local browser is locally run. So you will be able to use my local network.